Welcome to Your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 719. If you are writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you've started writing your book but you need some help getting it done, you are in the right place. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh, also known as Christine Inc., like that stuff we write with. Each day I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 19 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they can turn someone who barely, sorta, maybe, kinda, sorta, maybe, sees themselves as a writer, can turn that person into a published book author. Those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. And once again, good morning. Happy Sunday, everyone. As we do every Sunday here on the show, it is Sunday Story Time, where I grab a book off my bookshelf, whether it's one of my own books or a client book or a book that has positively impacted me in some way. I read an excerpt from that book followed by some sort of question or activity or combination of the two for all of you so that you can help your writing with these excerpts that I read every week. And today, pretty excited about today's excerpt. It is a book from a recent guest here on Your Daily Writing Habit, the author Patricia Walsh Chadwick. And this is an excerpt from her memoir, Little Sister. Friends have asked me why I'm not angry, why I don't hate my parents, and why I seem so, quote unquote, normal. To be honest, I have spent little time analyzing why I'm happy. This is not to imply that I have been free of any anger, rather that the anger I have felt has been directed not at my parents, but at Catherine Clark. From an early age, I had a subliminal conviction that my parents were somehow victims of the powerful Leonard Feeney and Catherine Clark. It appeared to me that my parents, my siblings, and I were thrust together in a world that was foreign to our kinship. With the benefit of adulthood and maturity, I came to realize that my parents were free to have left the center and thus to have prevented our family from being sundered. They allowed their religious zealotry to supersede their parental obligations and the joys associated with them. When I try to understand why my parents did what they did, I cannot. I could never have made such a sacrifice. Nor do I pretend that I didn't wish my childhood had been different. Those endless hours consumed craving family life, wondering if we were the only 39 children in the world who were being raised in a religious order, forbidden to call our parents Mummy and Daddy. This incomprehension is real, as is the pain. What anger I have experienced is aimed fully at Catherine Clark, the power behind the throne of Leonard Feeney. Tall and powerful, she exuded an Amazonian force. As a mere child, I was her challenge, unmalleable, a free spirit in the claustrophobic world of the center. She and I engaged in a battle of the wills, and, try as she might, she was unable to forge me into a submissive member of the community, and so she banished me. At the time, I felt like a failure, but in truth, it was she who had failed. I was David to her Goliath. Despite the pain and the anger, I am most conscious of the many ways in which I have been blessed, not the least of which is that I'm hardwired to tackle challenges, disappointments, humiliations, and other hurdles in life. I'm an optimist through and through. No matter how bad the news or how daunting the situation, my instinct is to create a solution and see it through to make the situation right again. I left the center at the tender age of 17, brokenhearted and feeling deserted. But that door through which I was kicked out was the same door that opened onto a world I had so passionately wanted to explore since I was a small child. The optimist in me seized the opportunity to learn, silently and timidly at first, and to vault forward on the expedition of my life. Some ventures were formidable, but the journey has been extraordinarily fulfilling. There simply has been no time for self-pity. If I let myself dwell on the emotional pain I experienced, I would unfairly ignore all the good that God's grace has showered on me, not the least of which is the blessing associated with raising my own children in a warm and loving family environment. Happiness is finding peace, joy, and inspiration in the array of things one does in life. It is also moving on from what cannot be undone. I am thankful for the grace that allowed me to find a way forward, uninhibited by remorse and anger. That again was an excerpt from the memoir Little Sister by Patricia Walsh Chadwick. I'll put the link in the show notes. And I'll try to dig out the link to my interview with Patricia recently here on the show. Really fantastic interview, amazing woman. So hope you'll listen to that interview and get a copy of her book. And the question for you, Patricia mentioned how she's not angry with what she went through. And you'll read the book to find out all the things, extraordinary life story this woman has. Question, are you holding on to anger about any past events in your life? And this question is not meant to change that or challenge you or anything like that, but simply to encourage self-awareness of any emotions you might be carrying from past events. How do you feel about the events of your past? And for authors, just this level of awareness without digging any deeper than that, but I'm sure inevitably you'll start journaling about it if you do find some things. But for authors, this type of self-awareness becomes a writing tool because you bring that awareness and clarity and insights and messages into your writing, whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction. So are you holding on to anger about any past events in your life? How do you feel about the events of your past? It's today's questions. Thank you for joining me here on Your Daily Writing Habit, where I am helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And be sure and drop by my Inc. Authors group on Facebook. I'll put a link in the show notes to that as well, as I always do. You can get there motivation, accountability, book writing, publishing, resources, and more. And I would also appreciate it if you could subscribe to the show wherever you're listening and leave a review. I know all the things today, right? Thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate it. Until tomorrow, happy writing.